everybody, and welcome back to yet again another video. And I know 2 videos in the same month. I don't know what's going on either. But today we're going to talk about a topic I briefly touched on in the last video. Um, I wanted to make sure I had all the facts, before I made a dedicated video on this topic. Um, but if you don't know what I'm talking about the relationship between streamers Call Me Carson and Katerino. Now, normally I stay away from YouTuber relationships, streamer relationships. It's just not my thing. The same thing with, you know, celebrity relationships and stupid stuff like that. I just always stay away from it. But this one is kind of close to me because I'm both fans of the Misfits and of Call Me Carson. Uh, Not necessarily Katarina. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, a while back, about a week and now, Keemstar and Carson confirmed this on Reddit, but I guess Carson said that Katarina was cheating on him with Fitz, from the Misfits, which was kind of crazy because Call Me Carson and Fitz were both decently good friends, as far as we could see. Um, but I mean that was kind of crazy. But it turns out that she had a boyfriend this entire time, like a dedicated boyfriend, which was her manager, and I just think that's absolutely wild. Since this came out, though, he has privated his Twitter account, so I can't even look at what his tweets are or whatnot. But it was kind of crazy. And this Keemstar actually brought this to light. But Kate confirmed it in her apology video. Roll the clip.
Hey guys, I'm sorry this took so long to come out. I was processing things and thinking things through, and this is my first time going through something like this, and I wanted to go about it as best as I possibly could. And I want to be honest. My relationship with Carson was very complicated. I had a boyfriend at the time, and neither Carson nor my boyfriend at the time knew about each other.
Now, I want to start this out by saying I highly doubt that. First of all, Call Me Carson is not some like nobody streamer. He's very big on the platform of Twitch and even on YouTube and even on Twitter. It's like he's not a nobody. And second of all, if he's your manager, he's watching all of your streams, making sure you're not saying anything stupid or helping you type out this response video. So he had to have known about this guy, and I think that you were just using Carson for clout right there. So I just find it really hard to believe that he never heard of this Call Me Carson Katarina relationship, even though it was a pretty darn mainstream relationship.
And while I was clear with Carson that Carson and I were not in a relationship, I still let him on and ended up hurting Carson and my boyfriend at the time very badly in the process. I am now seeing a therapist, and although I didn't realize it at the time, I was dealing a lot with depersonalization, and I felt like I was two different people living two different lives. I felt like a passenger in my own body.
I think that clip right there really shows that she was trying to use Carson for clout. Not because she led him on or whatnot, but because she's using this mental illness as a sort of crutch. Like, hey, look, I didn't do this. This mental illness forced me to do this. I lived 2 different lives. I was a passenger in my own body. No, you weren't. You were trying to get clout, you were trying to get famous, and you found a way that you could. And you used Carson up until you found Fitz, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense after the whole Call Me Carson thing, but almost every single one of her fans are Call Me Carson fans that followed her because Call Me Carson put her up on this pedestal and streamed with her and stuff. So I find it really hard to believe that this mental illness forced you to do these horrible things to a really nice
And
guy.
I didn't know what I wanted or what was important to me. And this was when I got involved with fits, and I handled it very similarly to how I handled previous things. Um, I depersonalized a lot.
Here she goes again, using depersonalization as a crutch. And depersonalization is a decently, real thing. No, decently real. It is real. It's a real thing. But to use it like a crutch like that, like you still have some control of your body. It's not like you're not bipolar. You have one body, one mind. Like you're able to overcome something like this, and you choose to, hook up with your friends or your friend's friend. Like even if you didn't think of him as your boyfriend, you were leading him on. So he thought there was something there. So when you hooked up with Fitz, it broke him, right? You know, she goes on to say a couple of other things like, "Oh, it's just depersonalization. Like I hurt so many people that I loved." Like, no, someone that you truly care about, people, you don't do these kind of things to them. You don't hurt them for clout. Even if she's telling the truth and she's actually like the depersonalization actually forced her to do this or something. If you truly cared about them, you could stop yourself. I feel that you could stop yourself. Um, yeah, it's kind of this is so crazy because there's actually another streamer who claims I don't know how true this is yet. None of the actual like people that have been, you know, as fact to be in this whole conundrum. But there's another uh, streamer and YouTuber called I Will Dominate. He's like a League of Legends streamer, and he does stream highlights on YouTube. But he claims that he was too part of this Katerino, call me Carson nonsense, but he had no idea. Roll the clip.
And during this time, she was like seeing me as well as apparently she had a boyfriend. Apparently, there was something that happened with Fitz as well. So we saw each other, a couple like maybe around like 10 times, give or take. And there's other people in the streaming community that like have seen us together, etc. So that's why I'm just saying like, hey, I want to clear myself out of this drama. Like, I don't want to be involved with it, and I just want you guys to know what happened with me. So yeah, like during this time, you know, I was seeing her, and yeah, I just was in the dark the whole time. I have no beef with Carson. I talked to him before this. He said that it's better if it comes from me and like other people aren't involved. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much like the gist of it.
So what? That's one, two, three, four guys at once. Four guys at once. That's absolutely wild. There's no depersonalization unless you're living four lives, four different lives, because you deceived. Um, I will dominate. You deceived him apparently. Your boyfriend. So you deceived your boyfriend too because you didn't tell him about Carson or Fitz, and then you just went behind Carson's back. So and you deceived Carson. Like there's a lot of deceit, a lot of lying, and it's honestly gross. All of this to get clout. Like find a talent, pick up an instrument. I don't know. Do something that'll make you stick from the crowd. That's how you get views. Is you stick out from the crowd in a good way, not like this. This is the worst way to get clout. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Before I get into that, I want to tell you guys about the podcast. So, Lunchman Podcast name is subject to change. Is in the works right now. I was just talking to Hits, and I have a stomach ache, and we're working out. Maybe even doing the podcast the day I upload this, so it'll be that night. Recording it, and then doing some little bit of editing here and there, and so once it comes out, I'll post the link in my Twitter. So go ahead and follow that. That'll be in the link in the description below. And you might as well hit me follow in Twitch too. So that's there. That'll also be in the description below. But that's it for the video today. So please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it really does help me out. And it shows other people this video. And I will see all you wonderful people in the next video. Goodbye.